But let's move now to a book that I think is awesome. It's from Penguin. The book is called Cook With Us. Now, look, you can go into a shop like Dimmock's or Matilda's, which is where my two next guests are going to be, and I'll tell you more about that in a sec. And there's layers and layers of books. So what makes this one so special? Well, I'll tell you. Gary Mehigan and George Calombaris. Gentlemen, thank you.
Good morning.
Good on you for coming in today.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for having us.
And also, I want to talk about some of the recipes that inspired this book. Why did you, there's lots of books out there.
Yeah.
It must have occurred to you, we're going to release a cookbook. We're not the only ones in town. What's going to make us different? So what makes you different?
A lot of it's funny, there are lots and lots of cookbooks. In fact, I've got hundreds at home. George will have as well. But
you buy each other's, do you?
Oh, yeah, why not? Of course I do. Actually, George's Hellenic Heart is a brilliant cookbook, actually. It's got some fantastic Greek recipes in it. What makes a cookbook special is the renewal of an idea. And often there's nothing groundbreaking, but it's just a different take on something.
Yep.
But what's different about this book, it's about techniques. And George puts it brilliantly in terms of chefs always talk about beautiful ingredients and it's all produce driven, but we don't often talk about the building blocks, the drills that you need to do to be able to cook well. So that's what that book's full of. Really simple drills.
Because George, I want to talk about Christmas menus because one of the things we tend to do in our country, and of course in South Australia, you will get traditionally a Christmas day that can be really hot.
Oh yeah.
So you don't really want to sit down to an awesomely hot meal. You might want to do something like a seafood platter.
Yes. Oh, delicious.
Now you actually do socialise in your cooking circle with a couple of people who seem to have it down to a fine art. What's the secret here?
Well, look, you are absolutely blessed here in Adelaide because I shouldn't be talking about it, but your produce is amazing. You get some amazing stuff. So I think apply some simple techniques. So something as beautiful as a seafood platter, it should be, all the work should go in the preparation of it. So, prepare the prawns properly, poach them maybe, and have some things already done where you just have to pop them on the platter like a cured fish of some description, a smoke of some description, and then maybe a couple of things that might just come off the barbecue. Like, I think about half shell scallops. You just butter them and then pop them on the barbecue and they take seconds. Peel them off and put them straight on the platter, and a simple dressing and you're in heaven.
We told the people of South Australia that they could ring in and say hello to you, and Graham has taken that opportunity. Graham, you're a bit of a fan of our two guests.
G'day, Leon. G'day, George. Welcome to Adelaide.
Thank you, Graham.
I'd like to congratulate you and the team for Junior MasterChef and MasterChef series. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But I do have one sneaky question.
I love a sneaky question, Graham.
With the kids, absolutely brilliant, and I love young Kieran and little Harry. Makes me laugh all the time. You see them making sort of mistakes, and then you come back from an advert, and they present a beautiful looking dish.
What are you trying to say?
Have they got mentors, or have they got?
We're their mentors. You got to realise, and it's quite funny that there's been a bit of criticism levelled at these kids. They get a bit of a heads up of what's coming, and we go, they're 10 for goodness sake. Yeah. And it's a bit like being at school. Where you say, you know what, kids, you may be having a little test next week on geography, and we do the same thing on set. Right. And we also mentor them. So if they are making a mistake that's going to go out of control and they're going to get upset, or it's going to go terribly wrong, then we give them a little hand, but we don't take over, and that's the key. And what you'll be surprised about is how good they really are. They are fantastic.
Yeah. Look, I want to just talk briefly about oysters. Some people are very sensitive to seafood and they can't eat oysters.
Yeah.
For example, I can have them Kilpatrick, but I can't take them any other way.
Oh, it's a disaster.
Oh, gosh, it's a disaster.
Yeah. You don't like oysters,
Well,
Kilpatrick?
I reckon you should leave the bacon for a bit of white bread and the Worcestershire sauce for,
really?
I don't know, something else, cocktail sauce. I don't know about Kilpatrick. It kills it for me, because the beauty of eating an oyster is the fact that it, on the food chain, it's right down the bottom. It's a filter, so it's an absolute pure expression of clean seawater, and that's what it tastes like: iodine and salt, and that's delicious.
Yeah.
And we have, for the first time, grown chilies. However, I don't know how to use them, and I would love some help.
Put them in everything, don't you? Put them in everything.
You've got to be careful with them, though.
For me, it starts simple. Like George mentioned barbecue. I love the barbecue. As soon as the weather gets warm enough, I'm cooking outside. That's that's heaven for me. And just a little bit of chopped chili. You can put some I don't know, a bit of smashed fennel seed together, and then a little bit of olive oil, brush it over some fish and grill it. There's one thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds
And
good.
do you know what? We talked about how many cookbooks there are on the planet. There's a lot of them, and often there's no excuse now to experiment and explore. So buy a Moroccan cookbook, buy an Indian cookbook, and give it a go. You'll find thousands of recipes.
But you can even dry your chili, hang it up and dry it, and then make your own oil that you can keep in a cupboard and use it.
Tell me, when you guys, first of all, Gary, very successful restaurateur, you're regarded with some degree of awe by other chefs who would love to be as good as you. What was
that.
What was the turning point in your career where you discovered things with food that most of us mortals don't get until we try it? Because guys like you, you get these what you call nerds who sit around computers all day and spend hours and discover things.
Yeah.
You do the same thing with
travel.
food.
Travel's the key.
Yeah.
I trained in England. I'm English originally, and that's a long time ago, 20 years ago. But I worked 8 years in London in some of the best restaurants at the time, and then it took a little bit of travelling to open my eyes. And so you drop through Asia, whether it's Vietnam, Singapore.
And what about you,
China.
George?
It's amazing.
What about
Same.
you? Same?
I think travel's important, but I'm also inspired by. We are lucky here in Australia. Let's not forget that. As much as there's a romance of being in, Italy, Tuscany, Greece, blah blah blah, we have got beautiful chefs around us that influence us. Amazing produce. We're in a lucky place.
Okay, got a question. When's your new MasterChef on?
Oh, it goes on air in April. So we start the initial phases of filming auditions at the end of this month. Gee, it's come round quick, isn't it?
It has.
Is it because you virtually have the whole thing put to bed before we see it on television?
No, it catches up to itself.
Yeah, it's the highest. If you think about it, it's the highest content of any television program on air. So it's 6 nights a week, an hour minimum. So it's a huge amount of television. And by the time we get to April, we're about halfway through.
Yeah.
And because it's
All
on
right.
6 nights a week, it catches up quick.
Now, are you going to be passive receivers on Christmas Day, or are you going to put on the spread yourself?
Gee, it's difficult as a restaurateur. Where will you be, George? In your restaurants.
Yeah. Well, because this is my first Christmas with my son,
so
I'm taking the day off.
Oh, he's a good boy.
We're going to cook, but we still haven't negotiated. I'm trying to. I want to eat in my restaurant. At least I can see what's going on.
How many meals do you serve on Christmas Day? There's got to be
between all the
1,000
restaurants.
odd.
Yeah, about 1,000.
Busy day. In hospitality, not many people know this, but Boxing Day is our Christmas Day because obviously we all work very hard in the business. We feed everybody else, and then Boxing Day is a day to relax. Seafood, a couple of beers, glass of wine. Oh, heaven.
Guys,
Oh.
thank you for joining us. Your passion is very infective. You can tell by the people ringing in. I wish you well for next year,
Thank you.
and it won't be the last time we speak, I'm sure.
Good stuff.
Definitely. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
having us
for
on.
having us.